Shalom to my brothers and sisters in the body of Yahushua HaMashiach. I'm sorry, my tongue almost got twisted. But this is part two of Yahuwah's calendar with dealing with the 12 signs, which is called Mazzaroth. And you can find that in Job chapter 38, verse 31. So I'm just bringing you this video to give you an example of how to track the solar year and also how to determine when each season begin and end. Now, this is for the year of 2015 through 2016. But also keep in mind, our Jubilee year started in Tishri, the 10th day, 2015, and it will end this year on Tishri, the 9th day, 2016. And Tishri stands for the 7th month. Okay. Let me first go just a little bit of information about Yahuwah's calendar I have here so you can understand how I pinpoint the seasons on this calendar, as well as how I track the solar year. So I know this is season 1 because we was in spring during that time. Also, in the year of 2015 through 2016, we had a 13th month. And that was because the new moon was 10 days too early before the equinox. Also, the barley was not ripe either. So that's why we went forth with the 13th month. Now, I'm letting you know that the 13th month is not invented by man. This has been invented by the Most High. For if you count the numbers of the new moons, for every 19 years, you would get 235 moons instead of 228 moons. And this is what the prophet Enoch was talking about. It's written in First Enoch and Second Enoch. I highly recommend my people please read Second Enoch. When you read Second Enoch, it will give you more understanding why the solar year can have 365 days or 366 days. But most importantly, it would not follow the pattern that the Gregorian calendar has set up now. It is completely different. So if you account your number of days after the equinox to the equinox of the next year, you will either get 365 days or 366. This is why it's important for you to keep a record and to track the solar year and the lunar year, because I find by doing this, it proves what Enoch is saying. This also gives my brothers and sisters in the body of Yahushua the confirmation, because now they can see how prophecy is being fulfilled through the heavens and through his holy calendar. And another great example is that when you read Revelation 12 about that constellation sign, it happened, my people. It happened in the heavens. Even with Yahushua's birth, how did the wise men find him? They know how to read the signs in the heavens. So again, this is have nothing to do with what the heathens do, because they have no understanding of the heavens. Only the children of Yahuwah will have understanding of the heavens and what the Father is saying to them. For this is how we keep a track of time, the seasons, the days, the months, and the years, as written in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. Now, I always like to put my favorite verse because it relates to the calendar. Exodus chapter 34, verse 21. 6 days thou shalt work, but on the 7th day thou shalt rest, in earning time and in harvest time, and in harvest thou shalt rest. In earning time and in harvest thou shalt rest. So when you begin to learn about Yahuwah's calendar, it also relates to agriculture. This is why he tells you that all our holy feasts has to be in the right season, the right appointed time, which some of y'all know it as in the Hebrew, Moedim. Okay? For if you're out of season, then you won't be in line with agriculture, and then you won't have the certain harvest for your holy feast days, such as barley. You got to have barley to be provided on Abib 16th, which is the first fruit. which is the first fruit of the sheafware offering of the barley harvest. Also, you have to have wheat in order to make your bread for Pentecost, which we know Pentecost only occurs in summertime. For the wheat is only right in summertime, and to have new wine, grapes are only right in the summertime. And that can be confirmed in Acts chapter 2 as well in the Old Testament when you study that. And any farmer would tell you that wheat is only right in the summertime. You look around between June and July. That's the main time when it's usually right. Okay. Also, with your Feast of Tabernacles, that's dealing with the final gathering of your main harvest of the crops you have grown, because you have to get ready to prepare for winter. And then after that holy feast, you have to prepare to sow your seeds so they can be ready to grow and produce for the next year. So when you understand how this calendar works, it's like everything is in alignment. The heavens, the earth, agriculture. I know my brother Ron Divine, he did a good presentation when he talks about why it's important to look at the animals as well as weather. And also he talked about agriculture as well in his presentation. So he has some pretty good information that I agree with on those topics. Okay. But once you understand that how this kind of work and how everything is in alignment of what the Most High created, then you will have understanding of why things have to occur a certain way when you begin to study. So let me keep this topic short now. So we're looking at Mazzaroth, and those are the 12 signs. Today, the Gentiles call them the zodiac. Okay. So when the sun enters each zodiac sign, that lets you know what season we are in and what month we are in. For example, I don't have a picture of the 13th month, but in the 13th month, on the let me make sure, yeah, on the 11th day of Adar II, the sun enter Aries. Okay. Now here's the thing about our calendar. When the sun enter Aries on Adar II, which is the 11th day, it did it in in a certain part within that day frame. So we can't designate that day like part spring and part winter. We can't separate it. So this is why it would carry over to the next day. Okay. For example, on March the 20th of 2016, which was this year, the sun entered Aries at 6:30 a.m. Israel Standard Time. Okay. This is why that day is the last day of winter and the last day of the 12th month. So on Adar II, on the 12th day of that month, this is why spring begins. So when I counted from Adar II, the 12th day, to this is the month of Abib, to Abib, the 11th day, I got a total of 30 days. And because I knew of the time that the sun enter into Aries, and on the 11th day, the sun entered Taurus at 6:30 p.m. Israel Standard Time, gave me the actual time of the sun, which is a total of 30 days and 12 hours. Okay? So do you see why it's very important that you start keeping a record? So now we know when the solar year first month began and end. For it began on Adar II, the 12th day, and it ended on Abib the 11th. And it ended on Abib the 11th day. Okay? So let's do for the second month of the sun. So the second month of the sun, right here, which is Abib the 12th, is the first day of the second month. So when I go to the month Zen, which is the second month of the moon, on the 13th day of the third month of the moon, the sun entered another constellation, or you say sign, which is zodiac. So it entered Gemini on that day. Okay. So this is the last day of the second month. Okay, see how that works? So when I counted the number of days from Abib the 12th to Ziv 13th, I got a total of 31 days. Now the actual time between that day and the 13th day, I got 30 days, 23 hours, and 47 minutes. So for the third month of the sun, it began on Zen 14th day, right here. And it ended on Sivan, the 15th day. Now, everybody's pretty much familiar with the summer solstice. That's what that represents, the summer solstice, okay? So on the summer solstice day, the sun entered Cancer. That is the next sign that it entered, Cancer. And the total number of days I got from Zen, the 14th day, to Sivan, the 15th day, was 32 days. The actual timing of that was 31 days, 23 hours, and 47 minutes. So when you're looking for the signs and when the sun entered these signs, this is very important for you to remember. And watch that first video again. You want the tropical zodiac year. You do not want sidereal or the IAU zodiac calendar. You don't want that. For they are following the Earth rotation or the Earth orbit. Okay. The reason why you want the solar tropical year, because it's followed the sun circuit. And in Hebrew, that is tekfah. Tekfah. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at words. Tekfah. I believe it's spelled Tekufah. And it is in Torah. Okay? Because if you follow something else, you're going to get the wrong day when spring begins. You're also going to run into the 13th sign, or the 13th constellation, which falls in the IAU. So that would put you at being out of season. Okay? So that's something very important to know. I'm going to scroll down here so you can see the rest of my calendar. So at the bottom, I write down all these important notes. The vernal equinox is based off of the solar tropical year, and the summer solstice is also based off of the solar tropical year. So when you go in timeanddate.com, they are actually following the correct zodiac sign and giving you the correct time and date. And remember, you want your time and date based off of Israel, because that's where everything begins, is at Israel. So you can plug this information on the correct day of your calendar. So this is why I write all my notes. I write down if an eclipse happened, whether it's a solar eclipse or lunar eclipse. I keep up with the holy days, holy feast days, and the Sabbaths. I also keep up the actual timing of the lunar month and the actual timing of the solar month. All these things are very important to understand what Enoch was telling us in his first and second book, as well as Jubilees in the Bible, and Josephus, because he talks about Aries too, and some other stars as well. So now we're beginning to understand about Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, about these lights in the heaven will be used for signs, for seasons, for days, for years. It gives us time. These are our time indicators, okay? So these signs that we're looking at are actually stars, my people. What we call planets today, they are actually stars. So when you begin to study about the stars, which is astronomy, not astrology, but astronomy, that's the science, trying to understand the Most High knowledge, dealing with his stars and his heavens. When you gain understanding of that, do you understand how to write out Yahuwah's calendar? Okay. So I put all my notes here, which is good to have because, you're not going to remember everything from year to year. So it's very important to write these things down. Also on my calendar, you see I write down the four quarter phase of the moon and I also write down my first crescent of the moon and the last crescent of the moon. And I'm starting to keep up with the illumination, because with the illumination, especially on your new moon day, will help you determine if you sighted the correct new moon. Okay. And from that new moon day, your full moon, this is guaranteed. Even Enoch talked about this. Your full moon can only be on the 14th or 15th day, for it takes the moon about a month to orbit around the earth. And it does it within 29.5 something days. Okay. So your full moon have to fall in the second week of the lunar week and can only fall on the 14th or 15th day. This is very important to know because Passover falls on a full moon day and the Feast of Tabernacle will fall on a full moon day. Now for my waxing half moon, that means it's increasing in light, which is 50% illumination, will fall on the 6th, 7th, or 8th day. So it's very important that you write this down because then you begin to understand what week can these 4 quarter moon phases fall on. Same thing with my waning half moon. That means decreasing in light, which is about 50%. It usually falls on the 21st and the 22nd day. So far from last year, I have not seen that particular phase fall on any other day. And it will always fall within your third week. Also, your sheaf weight offering will always be on the bid 16th. Even Josephus confirmed this. The New Testament as well the Old Testament will confirm this. Even my YAHUWAH Bible Dictionary confirmed this. But the most important thing, long as Yahuwah word confirmed this, your sheaf weight offering will always be on a bid 16. And then the dark moon, that's when the moon has no light, which cannot be witnessed in the heavens. You cannot see this, okay? Will either fall in the 4th week of your lunar month or the last day of the lunar month. So it can fall on the 28th, 29th, or 30th. Now for my last waning crescent of the moon, that's when it's about to end, when the moon is ending. It will fall either on the 28th, fall on the 27th, 28th, or 29th. It will always be in the 4th week of the lunar week. So when you have understanding of all these things about the sun, about the 12 signs, when the sun enters these 12 signs, and understanding about the lunar phases, you will know how to draw out your calendar. Okay? Let's go to the next one now. This is my second calendar, and it's from the 4th, 5th, and 6th month. Right now, we are in the 6th month. Okay? This is season 2 because we're still in summer until we get into the fall equinox or the autumn equinox. And we already had a Pentecost in the 4th month, which is the second harvest of the 3. And Pentecost formula to figure out when is Pentecost is always 7 complete Shabbats and 50 days. A lot of people are not reading Leviticus chapter 23 for the full formula of Pentecost. This is why we have different days for Pentecost. So Pentecost must fall in the summertime. A lot of my people kept it in spring. And the biggest question you need to ask, the wheat wasn't right. So how can you have Pentecost if your wheat is not right in order to make the bread? And you must have new wine. So how can you have Pentecost if grapes only ripen in the summer to make the new wine? Think about it. All right. So now we're looking at this month here of when the sun enter the next sign. So in the fourth month, the sun entered Leo. That is the constellation sign, Leo. It entered Leo. All right. So it was on the 17th day of the fourth month. So that was the last day of the fourth month of the sun. Okay. The last day of the fourth month of the sun. So that was from Sivan 16th to the fourth month of the moon, day 17. And I got a total of 31 days. And the actual timing of that was 30 days, 17 hours, and 56 minutes. Okay. And I forgot to mention for spring, I got a total of 93 days. So when I counted after my vernal equinox to my summer solstice, remember I count the date that falls after the vernal equinox to my summer solstice, I got 93 days. And when I add each of those 3 months together, I got a total of 93 days. So it balanced out. For the fourth month of the sun, again, I got a total of 31 days. And the actual time of that was from 30 days, 17 hours, and 56 minutes. Okay. So on the 18th day of the fourth month was the first day of the fifth month of the sun. Okay. And it ended on Abib, the 19th day. For that was the day the sun entered Virgo. Okay. That was the day when the sun entered Virgo. So the total number of days from the 18th day of the fourth month of the moon to the 19th day of the fifth month of the moon, I got a total of 32 days. And the actual timing was 31 days and 17 hours. Okay. So in the month of Abib, we started a new month for the sun. So the first day of the sixth month of the sun fell on Abib, the 20th day. And it would end on Elul, the 20th day. Okay. So when I count from Abib, the 20th day, to Elul, the 20th day, I got a total of 30 days. But in actual timing of the sun, moving from one sign to another sign was 29 days, 21 hours, and 42 minutes. Now, this is your autumn equinox. This is when the sun will enter Libra. Libra. And Libra is represented by scales. Balances, which are scales. Okay. That's something very important to know. So another good thing I like about this calendar, and again, remember, I'm still researching, I'm still observing. So I'm only going by what I have observed so far. But what I noticed that if we had kept the Feast of Tabernacle, which falls on the 15th day, it would be before the autumn equinox. So we would still be out of season. Okay. Now, this is what my gut telling me. It should fall either on or after the equinox of the fall. That's what it should fall on. But it didn't. So we know we keep the Feast of Tabernacle for 7 days. And then on the great day, which is the 22nd day, we had a holy assembly. So you see that most of your feast days for the Feast of Tabernacle will fall in summer, and then you only have 2 feast days that will fall in fall. That's something, for us to continue to observe and to look at. Let me look at last year's too. Hold on, my people. Last year, when the equinox was for last year. Last year, the equinox fell on September the 23rd in September. And we had the Feast of Tabernacle to fall on the 27th day at sundown. Okay. And it would end on, which is the 15th day of the lunar month. It was the 7th month. So we was good. So the Feast of Tabernacles came after the autumn equinox for the year of 2015. So I'm going to repeat this again so you can write it down. The autumn equinox or the fall equinox was September the 23rd, and the sun entered the Libra sign at 11:20 a.m. Israel Standard Time. So that fell on the 10th day of the 7th month. Okay. But our Feast of Tabernacle fell on the 15th day of the 7th month, and that started from the 27th sundown to the 28th sundown of September. And then it ended on the 22nd of the month because we had we had a great assembly day. So that ended on October the 4th at sundown to October the 5th at sundown. So that feast did come after the autumn equinox. So that's something, to take a look at and to continue to observe, because we know these feasts has to fall in their appointed time according to the correct seasons. That is your feast of unleavened bread, which Passover is called by that. Your feast of weeks must fall in summertime, and your feast of tabernacles should fall in the fall time or the autumn time, the autumn season. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed this short lesson here. Again, if I was a little long, I'm sorry. I just like to be very specific with my details. Let me scroll down the screen so you can see what I write down. Okay. If you have any more questions, just leave your comments in the comment box. And remember, remember, most importantly, preach the gospel of the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Let the people know about salvation and show them how to receive it as written in Romans chapter 10, verse 8 through 13, and baptize them in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. For we know Esau's kingdom is ending and Jacob's kingdom is coming. And we know Yahushua will be the King of kings, and he is the high priest, and he is the master of masters. And we know YAHUWAH will be over all of us. So if you want to be in the eternal kingdom, I highly recommend that you receive salvation now while you have time before Yahushua come back. For this is the season for him to return based on these signs in the last days. I love you all, and you have a blessed day. Shalom.